What's going on, guys? It's Ash from ASHTAGbricks here, and today we are doing a blast from the past. I've brought back Hero Factory's Voltix from 2012 Breakout Wave, a theme that some of you may know is my roots in LEGO. And I've been retired for a while now, but I wanted to see if we could improve this set. Of course, it's pretty cool looking. He's a pretty cool looking dude, but there are obviously some things that we could do to improve it. So, without fooling around, let's get right into the video. So, let's talk a little bit real quick before we get on to building. A little bit of my idea for the design, and a little bit about what are some things I would like to improve, what I would like to do to make this an even better set. First things first, he is pretty overpowered. I've always viewed him as like Black Phantom's second in command. Of course, that's not canon, but it was a theory I had that that Voltix was supposed to be like the second in command. And so, I mean, you can see he's just got weapons coming out of everywhere, electricity coming out of everywhere. But all in all, he's pretty slender. And honestly, I think having rebuilt this set recently, after having him taken apart for a while, I don't know how well it suits this figure. I mean, he's using a pretty narrow, he's using the narrow version of the old CCBS torso piece. This is actually the narrow shouldered version, which isn't what I would want to expect. So I'll actually probably get rid of that, swap it out for a bit bulkier, bit wider version of that piece. I also want to make him a bit taller because all in all, he is pretty short. So probably lengthen the legs, lengthen the arms. All in all, make him a bit taller, make him a bit longer, a bit broader. And then also I want to just bulk him up some, try out different things with the armor, see what I can do there. You can look and see, he's pretty thin, so I want to bulk him up some, particularly in the chest. I like this color scheme. I don't want to do too much with it because, you change the color scheme too much, it doesn't really look all that much like the original figure. Turning them around, you can see there are definitely some armor choices I want to change, like whatever I do with the lower leg portions, I definitely want to touch it to the sides so you can see the skeleton elements there. LEGO, I know, always had that fans always complained with Hero Factory sets of the backs just being opened, and they covered him up really well with this one. I don't really see how to really improve upon that, so I may leave that the same, but I do want to just give him even more weaponry. Maybe, I don't know, maybe, you can see, just knocked ammo out, but you can see his gun is pretty, okay, I'm just going to put that to the side for now, but his gun is pretty slender, particularly considering the fact that he's got electricity coming through his back to really give off a really intimidating feel. He's got it coming out of the sides of his helmet. He's got this whole lightning whip going on, all these energies, all these tubes feeding energy into him, feeding electricity into him. Then he's just got this tiny gun. So I want to find a way to bulk it up some, bulk that up some, maybe do a bit more, add a bit more onto the legs. Yeah, I think that's about as far as I've thought for right now. I think once I actually get my hands on some parts and actually take them apart again to sort of see what I want to do, maybe more stuff will come to me. That's really what I've got. That's really the only ideas I've got for right now for just looking at the model. Maybe, I don't know, add a half bush or something to the top of this to try and cover up that axle. because the way this mold is, it's a really cool looking mold itself, but you do have a bit of an axle sticking out, or at the very least I may just swap this red one out for black, because that would probably do a lot for the model. So yeah, yeah, let's just get a good close-up real quick. You can really see what I'm talking about in here. You can really see how he's just pretty narrow and pretty short, and while he is still very intimidating, he doesn't have all that much bulk, if we're being honest. So that's really what I want to try and do. So before I start rambling, through the power of editing, go ahead and roll the time lapse. And here is the finished product. Let me just move them around a little so you can see. I know it doesn't look like I did all that much to him, and that is partially because, as I mentioned in the plating segment, most of the changes wound up being skeletal. But I mean, we'll see if we can get a picture-in-picture of the original right here. Future Ashford, if you like, when you're at thing, put picture-in-picture over here, that'd be nice. And now you can really see how he's a lot, his arms are a lot longer, his legs are a lot longer, he's a lot taller, he's broader, and overall I really feel like I succeeded in bulking him up some. Again, it may not look like all that much has been changed on camera, but feeling this, he feels a lot bulkier. Did as I said I was going to do, and change the placement of these to be armor pieces to be on the sides of the legs, to cover 3 out of 4 of the sides of the legs, to really help with that. I would have loved to make the lower portion of his torso a bit bulkier, but I honestly couldn't work out a way to do that. Maybe I'm missing something, maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll go back and do that and just refilm this clip. If this clip shows up in the video, you'll know I didn't do that, or couldn't figure it out. And because, I mean, it's such a small space, and there's so few attachment points there that nothing really fit. Nothing could really synergize with the other elements in that space, and synergize. I tried a few other armor attachment elements, but it was just too close to the legs. The Minifig ones to go right here, but it was just too close to the legs, and I probably would have knocked them off a bunch, because it could have only been attached to really one of the 2 Minifig holders. Another thing I did was, I told you I wanted to beef up the blaster and just make him seem even more dangerous. So what I did was I swapped this piece out. This was the original piece that had the blaster attached. I swapped that out. Well, first of all, I lengthened his forearm a little bit to truly make space for it and just give that extra bit of length. And then I added in a red hand, so he's actually got a hand. You couldn't really present it like that in the model, but so he could just slap his blaster on his thigh and then just do what he needs to do while still having it just be the whip over here. And then I just started building out the blaster of how it would work. But I also knew I wanted more of these electricity elements, these electricity just flowing out of the blaster. I really wanted that in there because you've got this giant lightning whip. You've got all this coming out of his back and out of his energy storage thing. Oh, it just fell off. And you've got all this coming out of the sides of his helmet. And then you've got this really tiny blaster right here. And so I really wanted to beef that up some, and I'm really happy with the way it turned out because all in all, it wasn't that much modding that went into that. Let's see if we can get that in there. There we go. But just adding being able to add in those electricity pieces really help, and it almost gives it a crossbow effect, which is kind of nice. Just really just broadens that part of his weaponry to really act as defense too, of hey, people can't get too close to him now. The ammo sphere is still falling out, really can't do much about those ammo balls. I kept the original upper leg, like the thigh armor pieces, but I felt they were too slim. I wanted to bulk them up a little bit, so you can see I used these pieces, these little armor add-ons, and just slap them on the sides to really give it that extra bit of bulk, and I liked the way that turned out. You can see most of the pieces I actually added in are gunmetal. The red ones, I couldn't really find ones that fit into what I wanted to do, and purple is a very uncommon color in CCBS armor, so I didn't really have that many of those. But gunmetal was plentiful, so I went ahead and got these. I'm pretty sure this was with Black Panther, not Black Panther. Oh my gosh, Black Phantom, or maybe it was with Bulk or something, and just put this extra bit of chest plate on there, and it really just bulks him up a lot. And because of the fact that I swapped out the narrow shouldered element the narrow shouldered torso with a bit wider and a bit longer torso, this means that there are these two attachment points that you can't really see, but it's the standard torso. You can kind of see them if I bring it up real close. Right here and right here, to allow for extra attachment points. And since I had them, I wanted to find a way to utilize them. So I took what was originally the forearms or the lower legs, something that were used in the model somewhere, I forget where, and just attached them to the shoulders, and then just attach these some extra length 5, I believe, gunmetal armor elements to the side, and then I played around with a few orientations of those elements to see what looked best, and I finally just edged it under the red tubes and had it resting on his chest plate, and that looked really nice. And so now it kind of really flows like really well, and you can sort of it sort of just goes straight from the shoulder armor straight into the chest plate, and it really, those things really bulk up the rest of him, because I didn't do anything to his head except for, as I talked about in the planning segment, replaced the red axle that was holding his helmet on with a black axle, which, as you can see, just really makes it blend in a lot nicer. But other than that, I didn't do any modifications to the head or the neck. It's all the same skeletal structure in there. It's all the same head. And so you can see that those 3 armor pieces just really added a lot to the model. Another thing I played around with was when I was adding in these electrical elements to the gun, I wanted to see, I was trying to just play around and see what orientations I liked the best. I couldn't really decide on a few. I didn't really have anything in mind. I just knew I had a rough idea of what I wanted, and because like I said, I didn't have that in mind to have it look like a crossbow. But that's just sort of what came out. I tried to see if I could have it just over the top, maybe under the bottom. That didn't fit in, unfortunately, with the other parts. I tried a couple of other things, didn't look very good. That's actually what made me add in this standardized forearm bone piece, is because it actually had the ball attachment point to be able to attach something to it. And so I just attached what was originally his quote-unquote hand to that, and that opened up the attachment points here to be able to stick the axle or the electrical parts in, and it looked so nice. So I just kept it like that, and then played around with the positions of the tubing on this hand to see how I like best. Just stuck it back under with the blaster, the blue one back under with the blaster like it already was, and then just finally decided on sticking the red one right here, that red element. This other arm, I didn't really do that much to. You'll see I think this is repositioned, these, the purple upper arm armor. I'm pretty sure that's repositioned from how it originally was, but I did add in these small 3 long black armor elements to just add a little bit of extra bulk, a little bit of extra armor to him, just give that extra bit of oomph. But the rest of it, this arm, pretty much remained untouched, as you saw in the time lapse. This whole back part with the energy storage, that's untouched. I wanted to really just remain true to the model, and then at one point I was like, well, I've not done that much, but I'm kind of done. And that's one thing I suggest, is don't force stuff in there for sake of adding extra things into the model. If you're satisfied with it, and if you really think you've done all that could logistically and feasibly be done with a model, or without just pretty much ruining it, let it be. Call it done for now. And that's really, okay, why do I keep knocking stuff off? That's really what I did, again, with, I guess you could say, the hip area of the armor. So I was trying to do a few more things with it, trying to just add in a few things, because I really didn't know if I had done enough improvements. Then I realized, no, this is just going to start detracting from the model instead of adding to it. So I finally decided, you know what, this looks great. I'm really happy with the way it turned out. It really does look improved. So let's go with it. Let's call it done. And so that's one thing I would suggest you do. If you enjoyed this video, if it gave you some good inspiration, if you gave you some good nostalgia for Hero Factory, consider dropping a like on it. If you want to see more videos like this, because I will continue this series at least a few more times for other Hero Factory sets, why don't you subscribe and ring the notification bell to stay tuned for all of these new episodes, plus a ton of other LEGO related content. We do this design videos, we do technique showcases, we sometimes do reviews, let's builds, stop motion, time lapses, we do looks at my mocks, all sorts of stuff. You really are missing out if you've not subscribed. Also, feel free to check out our brother channel, Geek Hotspot, which is linked in the description. We do science, technology, and pop culture videos. I've got one coming out fairly soon. It's gonna be hilarious, gonna be awesome. Gotta check it out. Thank you for your time. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.